Hi, AT from CNC at Home. I got a package today and it's some special masking tape. This is 4-inch wide masking tape and the intent is to use it on a 4-inch tile. The way that I can use that is basically have this go across the tile and burn a template onto the masking tape. Then remove the part of the template I don't need and do some painting. My hope is to first burn this tile. I have white paint on it, so what I burn initially will turn the paint black and stick to the tile. Then I'll clean the extra paint off. I'll apply the masking tape, put the tile back into the laser, and burn the template. If all things are aligned and it works the way that I'm hoping, what will happen is that I'll be able to peel some of the masking tape off and then spray paint a color onto there. And I actually have two colors that I want to do. So I'll do one color on this side, another color on the other side. And we'll see how that works. In theory, it should work just fine. In practice, sometimes things don't always work out like you expect them to. This was the last component. I already have the paint. I already have the tiles. Now that I have this 4-inch wide masking tape, I can do the project. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let's get over into Lightburn and take a look at what we're doing. I was hoping to make some nice tiles for my friends over at the B3. This is the logo for their channel that I've imported into Lightburn. So now it's black and white. Let's take a quick look at the color version so you can see what that looks like. Here's the color version. You can see that we have a blue B and an orange 3 and the letter the is in white. I would like to do a tile that has these colors. The issue is, how do I do that? I'm thinking what I'm going to do is use our white paint method where burning it with the laser turns it black, and that'll be the border for the letters. And then for the color of the letters themselves, I will spray paint that on. And to make sure that it gets just the right spot, I'm going to use a masking tape template. So I will put masking tape on the tile once I've burned the black part and cut out a mask so it's just where the blue part is and just where the orange part is. And then I should be able to spray paint those relatively easily. To do that, I'm going to need to make two different coaster, essentially, projects. The first one, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to convert the image to be 110 millimeters in height. This image isn't exactly square. It's a little bit wider than it is tall. Let me zoom in on that. I will also not be doing this big black border. It'll just be the B3. That's all it's going to be on the tile. I want to convert this to a vector drawing so I can do some editing. I right-click on the image and say Trace Image. Make this full screen so we can see it better. This isn't exactly the trace that I want. The outside edge would be great if I was going to do that. The problem is in here, this is the part that I want black, and it's not distinguishing between this dark gray and the black. So it's just pulling the center part out. I'm also not getting the line down here separating the dark gray from the black. I'm going to come down to my threshold and adjust that down, and we'll see what happens here. As I do that, boom. I don't know if you saw that. Now I have a trace of this dark gray and of the black. Looks like maybe not quite as good here. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit more. That's really not getting any better. About right there. Looks good. So we're getting a nice little dip here for the E to fit, and this T fits well in there. So we'll go ahead and do that. I will click OK. And there's the image we have. I'm going to ungroup this so I can manipulate the individual pieces. I'm also going to change it to line so we can see what's going on. These two lines I really don't need. I'm not going to do anything with them, so I will put them on a construction layer. That way at least I have them, see them, and this kind of represents the outside edge of my tile anyway. The rest of this looks good. If I do a fill on that, what's turning black is exactly what I want to be black on the tile. So I'll go ahead and save this, and then we'll manipulate it a little further to make a cutting template for the paint, for the masking tape, so we can spray paint the blue and the orange. I have that saved. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to lines so we can see what's going on. What I need is this inside line for the B, and this big one out here, and again the inside for the 3. So what I'll do is I will select this outside line and just press delete. I'll grab some of this, press delete, get rid of all of that. The only thing left to get rid of is in here. I don't need that cut out. I don't need that cut out. I need the big one. So essentially, let's see what it looks like if I fill. Essentially, where it's black, I'm going to have it cut around that, and the masking tape, I'll pull this part away, and it will show me the tile where the B is supposed to be and where the 3 is supposed to be, and then I can easily spray paint this one blue and spray paint this one orange. Let's convert that back to lines, and then I can just easily save this, and we can run that on the laser. Because these two are made from the same starting point, they should work perfectly when I put them in the laser, as long as I get the tile lined up properly. If I use the Atom Stack P7, I'll be able to use the zeroing fixture that I created to ensure that the tile is in the same spot for both processes. Let's go ahead and go to the laser and see how that works. For this project, I'm going to be using the Atom Stack P7. We have our zeroing fixture in place. I have it hooked on the front leg and then pushed up tight against this near support bracket. The next thing will be to put a tile in place. So here's a white tile. It's painted white, and I have it then zeroed because I have it in our fixture. The first thing I need to do then is focus the laser. I'll place our focusing template on here, bring the laser head over, lower it down onto that, and tighten it up. Now the laser's focused. Let's get it turned on, and we'll get the homing cycle going here, and that will get it into the correct position for what we're going to do. Now the laser's in place. I want to do a quick frame to make sure that it looks like it is doing it in the correct spot, and it is. We should be able to go ahead and start the burn up. We'll get our ventilation turned on and start the burn. Now that the burn is complete, we can see one of the issues we have using this white paint method. Let me zoom in on the tile so we can see what's going on here. If we look at the burn here, let's see how black this is, and it's fairly decent in this area as well. But as we come up, this is much more of a gray than a black. And that has to do with the consistency of painting the tile, how much paint I actually put down. If it's a lot more or a lot less, the burning of the tile will come out differently. And that's why it's very important to get a consistent amount of white paint on the tile. I will use this one for the experiment for the masking tape to see how that turns out. What I will likely do for the actual tiles that I'm going to give the B3 will be to use the cold galvanizing compound method. It's much more forgiving and easier to get a consistent coat onto the tile. I will go ahead and take this out to the garage, get the paint cleaned up, and then we can start the masking experiments to see what burn parameters are going to work best for that. The first thing I need to do is a material test on this new masking tape. Once I get some burn parameters, then I can apply that and actually cut the mask. I was able to get some good numbers and cut the mask out, and it worked pretty well. I went out to the garage, painted blue on one side, orange on the other. Let's peel this masking tape off and see how it looks. I have 3 tiles painted, and that's about as good as they're going to get with this process. The next step is to put a clear coating on each of these to protect the paint. The next step after that is the cork backing. So I'll get these out into the garage, get a clear coat put on them, maybe a couple coats, and then we'll put the cork on the back. With the corks applied to the back of each of the tiles, I can burn the CNC at Home logo on there. I get the tiles zeroed up using my template, focus the laser on top of the cork, and then start the burn. I'll first do a quick frame around it. It's in the right spot. It's burning. Now that the coasters are just about ready for the B3, I'd like to make a nice box to put these in for presenting that or giving that to them. I'm going to make this one out of MDF. I'm going to get my ventilation fan turned on, hopefully suck some of the smoke out. We'll do a quick frame, make sure that we're on the material. That looks good. I'm going to put the protective screen down. With the parts of the box all cut out, I was able to glue them together, put the tiles in, and make a nice little presentation box. After all was said and done, the project turned out pretty well. Here's the box. It has the coasters in it. They turned out okay. I didn't show this all in the video because it would have been too long. I ran into 12 many problems on this project. As I had mentioned in the beginning, not everything goes as you plan. The first thing I ran into was getting the tiles prepared to begin with, using the white paint method and getting the black part burned onto the tile. That first one, I had some gray up at the top. I ended up switching over to the cold galvanizing compound because that tends to be more reliable. Not this time. I think the issue was I put too much on. I may have been using parameters for a different laser. I made several attempts and they failed. I eventually got some tiles that worked properly. Just had to kind of step back, get them coated, use the correct parameters. Then I started having issues with the masking tape. I thought I had that all nailed down. It turns out that this new masking tape does not burn as well, probably because of the lighter color, as the blue masking tape or the green masking tape that I've used before. It took a while to get the correct burn parameters for that worked. I eventually did get some burn parameters for that. So now we have tiles with the B3 on it, and I've got masking tape. I can burn my template, peel the tape off, get it all prepped up, and I tried using a method where I first spray on a clear finish, and that's supposed to help prevent the paint from getting underneath the masking tape. Masking tape doesn't work 100%, so I tried that. Well, it sort of kind of worked, but didn't work. It ended up creating just a white line around the mask where the paint didn't want to stay. It just kind of like seeped away from the masking, so I ended up with like a white line around where I was painting. So the next thing I thought was like, fine, I will try this without using that clear coating. And I did that. I don't know if it really worked any better. I ended up with issues where the paint was peeling off with the masking tape, maybe a little impatient. I didn't let it cure or dry long enough. I put on multiple coats of paint and it ended up getting too dark. I was getting frustrated with this project. Fortunately, I stuck to it. I cleaned some of the tiles off just because the paint job was just so horrible on there. Oh, the one time I nicked it with my finger. It still wasn't quite dry, and I nicked it with my fingernail and put a gouge in the paint. I tried just touching up that area. It looked horrible. So I just cleaned that tile off as I did with another one, remasked it, repainted, and eventually got 3 versions of this that were acceptable enough to give away. After that, putting the cork back on there, not a problem. Getting that etched, not a problem. Creating the box then, using MDF, thought that would be an issue, but of course it was. One of the pieces, is one of the sides, didn't cut through all the way, and I ended up just recutting that. There was enough material left over. I just recut that side so that I'd have a good one. As I was trying to break it free, it just was making a mess of things. So I had all the pieces for the box. That got glued up. The tiles are in it. The engraving on the front at least turned out okay. I did put a clear coat on this whole box, so it's a little bit darker than the raw material, but that clear coating will hopefully protect that a little bit. And I will give this to my friends over at the B3. They do have a channel called The B3. I'll put a link over here. You can take a look at their content. They've become quite successful, which is fantastic. I think it's great for them. They've got some interesting content. The stuff they've been doing recently with Legos is just hilarious. It's fantastic, well edited, and the videos aren't too long. So a great combination there. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps us out. If you like the content of our videos, think about subscribing. That also helps. Enjoy doing your CNC at home projects.
Oops.